This video is prepared according to the syllabus of KTU, Course Subject Web Technologies, Course Code CS368. In this session, we are going to discuss about functions in PHP that is included in the 6th module. In this session, we will discuss why functions are required. Then we will concentrate on different types of functions like built-in functions in PHP and user-defined functions. That all things we will discuss. In built-in functions, we will concentrate on date function, numeric functions, string functions, and all. In the case of user-defined function, first we will discuss how to define an user-defined function. Then we will discuss a demo program called marklist program using functions. After completion of this, the same program using a global keyword, how it can be implemented, that will see, that is scope of variable, we will discuss there. And finally we will discuss the recursive functions with help of an example called Factorial program, that we will discuss how recursive functions can be implemented, that we will see using Factorial program. Before we start discussing about different types of functions, let me say what is function. Function is a self-contained block of code that performs a specific task. For example, you have a logic for calculating something, for example, factorial calculation. So this particular code, you need not to type wherever it is required. Only logic once you need to write the code. We can, whenever we want to use that particular code, we need to call that particular code. So such codes are written in the form of a function. So whenever that is required, we need to call that particular thing. This is the beauty of functions. So the advantages, if you see, that code we can reuse. That means only once we need to write it, that can be invoked many times. Suppose we may use it with different arguments. So only thing is we need to change the arguments. No need to write again and again the same logic. Not required. Only thing is we need to change the arguments. Based on that arguments, that is going to calculate a particular task. Another thing is, so it saves a lot of code because we no need to write the logic many times. So naturally that will save time. The main program, it is not included. So separate logics are in separate functions means. So we can easily understand what exactly that function is performing. If it is mixed with the main program, again it is confusing. Okay, these are the advantages. The types, if you see, we can group functions in PHP into two types, built-in functions and user-defined functions. Built-in functions different for example, to display date we have built-in functions. No need to code it again, already it is there to calculate the square root of a number. So these all things we have different functions. So we have a list of functions. Next classification is user-defined functions. See, our requirement already built-in functions are there, but in some cases functions may not be there in that library. So we can define our own functions. There are some rules. According to that rule, we need to define our own functions. Such functions are called programmer defined function or user defined functions. The built-in functions, we are concentrating on a date function, numeric functions and string functions. That function is used to display data in a specific format. Numeric functions are functions that return numeric results. String functions are used to manipulate string data. Now let's see date function. Suppose you want to display a date like this. See, this is what the way you want to display date. There RFC standard is there, that is RFC 822 standard. You need to specify date RFC 822. So that is going to display particular day, date and all in the same format. Okay. Other format wise, you should know what and all you need to specify for getting the display. That is listed here. Suppose you want to get today's date, that is in full textual representation if you want. So what you have to do is you have to just specify date of, see here I have mentioned that lower letter L you need to specify here, lower letter of L. That is to display full textual representation of day. This is the format. Suppose you want to display date in this format. Okay, first, second, third of like that you want to display in this sense. You have to use small j for displaying day of the month without leading zeros. Okay. Then first, second, third like that you want to suffix like first, second, third, capital S you need to specify. Sixth, off in the sense, again this is a string you want to specify, so you can use escape sequence and that's string. And finally, this much is done off. Finally, you want to display full textual representation of a month instead of January, February like that. If you want to display, you can specify F, capital F. Then final thing is 2020, instead of display 20, you can specify 2020. In that capital Y you need to use. This is the format you need to follow for getting the date. Similarly for the time, then 24 hours format, if you want to follow, you need to use small h colon. That separator also you need to specify. Minutes with the leading 0, that is I, then colon. Seconds with leading 0. Okay, finally AM or PM, that is in capital you want to specify, means you need to specify capital A, small in the sense small a you need to specify. This is about date functions. Now we are going to discuss about numeric functions in PHP. First one is number. We want to check whether a given thing is a number or not. For example, we got an input computer, so we know that that is not a number, that is a string. So if you check is number of, we are going to get output as false. That is not number, it's string. Next thing is number format. Number format means one specific number you want to display in a specific format. Okay, see, this is the number you want to display. Delimiters you need to specify the separations you want to give. In that case, number format you need to specify. Okay, this is about number format. Next thing is random function, that is used to display random numbers. For example, if you want to display random numbers in the range 0 to 10, that is including 0 and 10, you can specify. So random numbers that will keep on generating one by one. Another one is a round off function. For example, decimal, this thing you want to round to its nearest integer, and you can use, this is an example for that. So integer value, that is 3 here. Okay, next thing is square root. Square root of a number. See, for example, if you give square root of, means that is going to give the result like this. Cosine functions, cosine function example, tangent function, pi. So these are about numeric functions. Now let's discuss some string functions used in PHP. Suppose we want to convert a string to lowercase, you can use str lower. This is an example. That's this, sabo, this string that will be converted lowercase. This is the output. For converting to uppercase, you can use string to upper. So this is an example. This string will be converted to uppercase here. For getting the length of the string, this is what the string, entire length in the sense that counts space also. So totally we will get this thing. Another important function is explode. The importance of this function is, suppose you want to convert a string to an array. For example, in the PHP, we are using that server. We have host server we have, database we have that processing user ID, password. These all things we have all will be in a string format for easier processing. Suppose you want to read user ID, it is easy for us to handle this thing. Once you convert this thing to array, that will be very easy. So explode function will help us to convert. There we need to specify that delimiter, the separator we need to specify. Here it is specified that semicolon. So once you explode this thing, the entire thing will be stored to an array variable. Here I have mentioned settings as an array variable. So now the index wise it is available. The first index, host name. Here host I have specified local host, database in one array, user ID. So anyway, for each index wise first location, this will be the second location, like that. We will get it in an array. So suppose we want to see the output, you can just print it using print underscore r. This is what the output, the first index, host local. So it is easy for us to process database, which database we are using, like that. Clear now? Next function is substring. Suppose we want to extract a string from the main string, you can use substring. First three parameters are there. First parameter you need to specify what exactly you want to extract. Second thing is from where you need to start, then how many characters. So this much you need to specify. So here I want to extract I love in, only that much. So that you can. This is a concatenation I have specified, that is continuity is there just to show that is according to your anything you can specify. For example, I have included like this. Okay, that is clear, right? This is the thing. Next thing is string replies, str replies. You can assume that I have a sentence like I will go there. You want to change instead of will, shall. You can specify what exactly you want to change. That you need to specify as first parameter. No, what exactly you need to find, and this thing for changing this thing. This is the thing you want to change. That you need to specify. The actual sentence you need to specify. So that will be changed to I shall go there. Clear now? Next thing is locating the position, string position. Okay. In the string I love India, we want to position where the love is. That is in the second position. The first entire sentence, that entire string you need to say. This is the string which you want to locate. Second position. Another thing is to calculate the hash of a string. Okay, in SHA1 algorithm, you can calculate the hash using this function SHA1. Similarly, for MD5 also, we can use this. Here, the string for hashing and all, this string I use password. You can use any string. For corresponding hash, we will get like this. Similarly, for this particular algorithm, you will get this is what the hash. Okay, that is also very useful. You need to specify such a one of hash, MD5 of that string you need to specify. Next one is string count. Then string word count you need to specify. Echo string word count. Total how many words are there? You will get output here. In this example, you will get output 3. Okay, suppose you want to convert in a string first character to capital, uppercase, capital and uppercase here. So this is the thing, this is the output that is converted. First character we want to change to small letter, that is lowercase. You can use LC first, lowercase first, this is uppercase first. These are the examples of string functions. Now we are going to discuss about user-defined functions. How user-defined functions can be defined in PHP, that we will see. So the important thing is you have to use a keyword, function keyword you need to use, then followed by the function name. Within bracket you need to specify what are the parameters. These are the arguments. The function I already mentioned that some code will be there, one specific logic will be there. So this particular logic will be executed according to various parameters. So here only thing is logic is same, only difference is the parameter. So calling function that will pass different arguments. So that arguments we will get here and we are going to process here, and after processing some value or expression we will return from this function. This is the general concept of any function. Okay, so the rules like that: function keyword, function you need to use, function name, then parameters you need to separate parameters using commas, and here you need to use the curly bracket, the body of the function. This is about this is the syntax of any user. Now we will see when the function will invoke. That in different situations we can using some moment we click some button, or we can call it from PHP code. That way we can invoke the function. The importance of return statement means moment it reaches the return statement, function will stop executing there, and we want to return something, we need to specify there. Let's see an example of a function. This is the function keyword we use for defining a function. Suppose you want to write a function for calculating the square of a number. Okay, so any function name you can give here, square of a number or square, or according to your convenience, anything you can give. This is the argument we are passing from the calling function. This is the parameter. Here the logic is for calculating the square in this sense, we need to multiply the same number. This is what the logic. So you need to specify the logic here inside the thing. Then after calculating this thing, we need to return the thing to the called function. That is why we use here return. This is about the function, very simple function. So everything is there, keyword is there, function name is there, argument is there, logic of the thing is there, return statement is there. Okay, this is about function, simple example. Now we are going to discuss a demo program called marklist program. Assume that we need to calculate total marks on display. We have 3 marks. These are the 3 marks, and we need to calculate total marks on display. So here that steps for calculating total marks can be included as a function. Assume that we have a function called get mark list. This is the name of the function. So in that function, what are the things we need to for parameters means that marks we need to give us parameters here, that arguments we need to pass here. These are the arguments here, that is mark 1, mark 2, mark 3. Okay. Then this will call a particular function. This is the function, and after calculating this thing, that total marks, that will return here and that will be stored here. So here what we need to specify here is we should have variable for getting the result. That is what specified here. This is actually a function we are calling. These are the arguments specified here, that should be there. Okay, now moment this function is called, what will be performed inside, what calculations will perform, that we will see. So this parameters one by one we will get here. Using these parameters we use we will calculate total marks. These are local variables to this particular functions, because entirely different function. This is another one, this is another function. This is calling function, this is called function. Okay. Here this variable is different. Some variable, same variable, if you specify here, that is way, because that variable has got different scope. That has got scope in this particular function, and the same name variable is here in this function, means that is not having same scope. Scope of the variable we will discuss later. So we got these arguments, and using that arguments we are calculating the total marks. Okay. Now, so we have the total marks here. If you want, you can print. That is what are the things here I have mentioned. What are the things according to your convenience. Then final total marks you need to return. Okay, return total marks. That is going to return, and total marks is available here. This is the logic. So now you can print this total marks. This is about simple function. So these all things printing will happen in this function, and this total mark printing will happen in calling function. Clear now? Now we are going to discuss about another version of marklist program using functions. Here this is done using forms. So these all you need to specify first for creating the form and all. So you will get output like this. So you need to create accordingly. Then here we have different tasks. First task is we have different marks. First task is to calculate the average marks. So we should have one function. Another task is to calculate result. So for that also we should have another function. Final thing is we need to display details. So here we have three different functions. First thing is calculate average marks. This will calculate average marks. And will calculate the average marks and that will return. So average marks is available in this variable. The second thing is assigning result. So for for calculating marks, anyway we need three arguments here. So we will receive here three parameters. Marks 1, marks 2, marks 3, three parameters we will receive here. Using that parameter, we are calculating total. Average. So we are calculating the total, and then we are taking the average, and that we will return. This is about this function. So for this particular result assigning, what is required, that marks and all not required. So no need to pass that. This what you called marks and all not required. Only thing is we need to pass only that average marks. Okay, so average marks we are just passing, and using that average mark we are assigning result pass or fail using that thing. This is the thing, and finally we are returning that. So now result is available. Final thing is we need to display our register number, name, these all things we need to display. So again this argument you need to pass. Another function for displaying all other arguments we are passing, and the parameters we receive here. Here we will receive all parameters. So using that parameters we are displaying all details. This is about Morley's program using function. Now we are going to discuss about the scope of variable. Already I have mentioned that in any function, if you declare one variable that is local to that particular function, the same name the variable is available in another function means that variable is local to that function only. That is the scope of that variable. Suppose you want to get the variable globally, you want to access the same variable in another function. In this sense, you can easiest method is you can declare it as a global variable, that is using a global keyword. See, now let us consider this case. Here I am not using any return or anything. We are not returning anything, and we are not storing this all things here. This is the function for calculating mark list. So three arguments we have here, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3 and all. So that is going to calculate what? That is going to calculate total marks, and from that it is calculating the average marks. So here average marks we are declaring it as a global variable. So this average marks is available for other functions also. Okay. Similarly, another variable, a result, that is also declared as a global variable. So that is also, so average marks and results available in other functions also. Now we are displaying the marks. Here that all things are available, register number and name also we need. So we are passing that register number and name. What about average and result? That is because since it is global variable, we can access average marks and result in this particular function. So here you need to specify a keyword global. And simply you can print the thing. That is clear, right? Okay, now this is actually I specified for average marks, if you want to delimit into a two decimal point limit, you can specify number of format that already we have discussed. Number format. Here you need to specify type conversion, float and all. Then decimal points, 2 decimal points. This is what the format you need to use for display. That is 2 decimal point. Output will be 2 decimal point. Clear, right? This is what the output. This is about the variable scope. Now we are going to discuss about recursive functions. Recursive function is a function that calls itself. For understanding this concept, let us consider a simple example of calculating factorial of a number. A factorial of a number logic is a given number into multiplication of n minus 1, like that. So that will be reduced to value, and finally we are going to return the multiplied thing. This is the logic of that. So here it is calling the same function, and argument means given number minus 1. Keep on reducing that thing. We will pass the argument. This is the logic. Okay. This is actually for returning 1 in the sense given number is 0 in this sense, factorial is 1. In the case of 1 is also factorial. So the beauty is here, it is just calling the same function. So keep on doing it, and finally it reaches the condition that will come out of that. Okay, this is, for example, if you take 5 in the sense, we will get 120 as the factorial. This is about a recursive function. These are the references I used while preparing this. Thank you. Thank you for watching my video.